Hello and welcome to Clock Strikes Midnight. In this episode, we head to Boone County, Missouri to explore 3 strange places. Witches and gypsies buried in the Mount Zion Cemetery, climbing up on Shadowman Ridge at Bear Creek, and finally, exploring the abandoned Woodhaven complex. Prepare for a journey into the dark. The first place we paid a visit to was the Mount Zion Church and Cemetery. This is just outside of Columbia, near Hallsville, Missouri. It's an old Civil War era church and graveyard, and a battle from the Civil War was actually fought here. There's said to be gypsies buried out here, and we are assuming that these must be the gypsy graves. They were rumored to be buried away from the rest of the population. Shortly after, we came across these, what we believe to be the witches' graves. Were these poor souls persecuted for black magic? We were there for only a short time, but another interesting find was the strange bench. Something like a devil's chair, or a devil's love seat, rather. More on that later. The next place we visited was Bear Creek, inside of Cosmo Park, in Columbia. One of our team members had plenty of strange stories from this location, including one where he and a group of people saw a shadow man on top of a ridge. But when they went to confront the shadow man, no one was there. It's also said that the ground out here is hollow. Caves, underground passages. It didn't register well on camera audio, but you could definitely hear and feel a hollowness in the ground. As it got close to dark, the EMF reader began spiking, over and over at different locations, mostly near these rock structures throughout the park. As night fell, we decided to hike up Shadowman Ridge. When we got to the top, the EMF reader spiked higher than it had at any other moment during our investigations this season. Right on top of Shadowman Ridge. Right at the location where the Shadowman was reportedly seen. This we cannot explain. We even tested out the thermal to see if we could catch a shadow man's energy on the ridge. Other stories of creatures in the woods, noises, and people being chased had our senses high as we left the park that night. The EMF reader spiked again on the trail while walking back, just after we heard what we assumed to be some kind of dog. But out here in the middle of the night, at a park on the edge of town, noises followed us on our whole walk out of Bear Creek. Our final location for Boone County was the abandoned Woodhaven complex. Once used as a school for children with developmental disabilities, it eventually became a home for adults with the same types of problems. The largest building at the complex has been destroyed. All that remains is a foundation. You can see underground into the crawl space here, holes like trapdoors scattered throughout. Oddly enough, they left the pool when tearing down the place. One would assume that they would fill this in during demolition, but maybe the memories were just too powerful to cover up. Near the pool area, one of our team members experienced an extreme camera glitch, one of the many that occurred throughout our filming this season. We passed what was left of the front entryway, then headed up the hill to the other buildings, covered in graffiti. After looking around, we realized that most of the doors were open, an invitation to come in and experience the strangeness. The roundhouse rooms were surreal. All of the doors and passageways in which someone or something could be hiding. People report hearing noises and other strange experiences at this complex. But what worried us most was the thought of startling a homeless person. We took a trip down to the basement, and it was no different. Doors and passageways everywhere. A different room anywhere you looked. It wasn't hard to navigate, but it did feel something like a maze or a haunted attraction without the actors. Classrooms and bathrooms tucked into random corners. Others have photographed orbs and reported strange activity in the boiler room down here. When we came upon it, we heard this unexplained squeaking or jingling noise. You can hear it here in the audio, and I've looped and enhanced it afterwards. Oh, well, here's the boiler room. Anything in here? Spiders. I don't want none of your business, speed drunk. Did you just hear that rattling? Good. It was like a chain jingling. You didn't hear that, Steven? Things were just as weird at the third building. Bathtubs and walls, random reclining chairs, everything dilapidated. A member of our team has an ongoing spooky scavenger hunt type project where he leaves cursed items for people to find. The last time we were here, he left something, and when we came back to film, he noticed that the item was gone. After he showed me, we walked a little further into the building and then started hearing noises. When I turned my camera to the wall, that's where we're hearing the noises. Scurrying and scuttling. We decided not to stay any longer. Questions remain, but the answers are out there. How far are you willing to go to find them?